What's up, everybody? I'm John Middlekauff. You know what I need you to do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got content for days reacting to every NFL game all the time, every single day. Subscribe, like the videos. Let's go. What is going on, everybody? How are we doing? Hopefully everyone's having a great day. Looking forward to the big Memorial Day weekend, but probably not having as good of a day as Howie and Nick Sirianni and Jeffrey Lurie. The Tush Push has survived. So we will give some thoughts on that off the top. It did not get voted down, or I guess it didn't get voted to be banned. It survived by the skin of the Eagles' teeth, 22-10, needed 24 votes. Some information has come out on Brock Purdy's contract, and we got some details. So we will talk about that and a couple other NFL stories. Something Ben Johnson said that made me laugh. Cam Ward, Chip Kelly messing with Ashton Jeanty, and yeah, so we will definitely talk some football today. But before we do, I got to tell you about my friends, my partners, and the official ticketing app of this podcast, Gametime, best in the business. Doesn't get any better. You want to do something this weekend? You want to go to a game? Do you want to go to a concert? Do you want to go to a comedy show? Are you looking at over June, July? Want to do something fun? Want to do something fun for someone you know? Want to take care of your wife? Surprise her? Maybe your children, maybe your mother or your father. Well, I got the thing for you. Get them a pair of tickets. You can search by venue. You can search by team. You can search by price point. You can, if you're at a concert, you can tell where it sits on the stage. If it's a game, very easy to figure out. If you want to travel in, if you're already looking at the NFL or college football schedule, they got you covered. So can't recommend these guys enough. Been using them for years. Best in the business. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code JOHN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code JOHN for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The Tush Push has survived. And the Eagles and Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni will get in short yardage situations in the goal line, and they will score touchdowns and they will create first downs. And my overall take on this has been kind of indifferent. And I'm typically on, I would say, polarizing topics, not usually a fence sitter, but I was unbothered by the play, but also understood if it disappeared tomorrow, I wouldn't be fazed. Completely understood why the Eagles would want it, and I understood the old school football guys like Mike Vrabel going, what are we actually talking about? This is a football play, and they have a player who is better at this than anyone else. If you have a quarterback who can squat 650 pounds, you would do the same thing. We saw Josh Allen, one of the strongest, most athletic players in the NFL, and an inability to gain half a yard. And part of it was because, unlike Jalen, to go low, he had to go high. And so I'm cool with this, and I do understand the detractors. I get the NFL. I don't get all caught up like Jeffrey Lurie. It's a healthy play. Jason Kelce, who has kind of gone viral. There was a big ESPN.com article about an impassioned plea, how him and Jerry Jones were watching film, and Jerry's like, listen, I don't want to give the Eagles an advantage, but makes a good point. So the Jeffrey Lurie and Howie break out the big guns, bringing Kelce to talk about this play. Said if we could run this 60 times a game, I'd still be playing in the NFL. And listen, the reason this works for the Eagles is they have a dominant offensive line, but most importantly, the quarterback. If the quarterback was someone else, it would not be as effective. So Jared Goff or Brock Purdy or Josh Allen, or just go around the league, Baker Mayfield, the advantage is the strength of Jalen. And like Vrabel was saying, like, what stops us from doing this and that, like defending the Eagles? And I was like, yeah, I don't care. And some of the comments to come out, Jeffrey Lurie, I guess, gave like a long diatribe about the health of this play. And if you take this play out, it'll actually make guys less safe, even for your teams. And I guess dropped a line about a young child's wet dream with how great this play is. And then Troy Vincent, went full ESPN. It was like, that's offensive to the women in here. It's like, Troy, calm down, buddy. Any person in this room offended by using the words wet dream Like, give me a break. This is multi-billion-dollar business. No one's offended by that. Classic Jeffrey Lurie line. But ultimately, this play survives. And I think we're a year away. If the Eagles dominate again and they win, like if the Eagles were winning 6, 7 games, no one would care. This would not be a talking point. But they've been to 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls and they just beat the shit out of the Chiefs. And if they do it again, if they go back to back and beat the crap out of everybody, and this play is obviously a huge part of their arsenal because when they get down to the goal line, they are scoring a touchdown. When they get in a short yardage situation, they are moving the chains. It's basically automatic. And it will go away. But as of right now, they get to use it another year. And listen, the Eagles are obviously going to be one of the heavy favorites to win the Super Bowl and be a dominant team and be a playoff team and probably win the division. So it's this story's not going to go away. But the Eagles and utilizing Jason Kelce, which Jed York tweeted about, like, I owe the guy a beer. Listen, there are certain guys that just can own a room and their passion, their ability to connect, and they're just likable. Like certain human beings just resonate with other people because they are just likable people. And Jason has always been one of those guys. Like he could go into a room with anybody. I mean, it's honestly the power of that individual. It's why him and his brother created a podcast with like 2 years later is worth $100 million. You could put Jason in a room, at some dive bar in some blue collar town with a bunch of dudes making $30,000-$40,000 a year, and he would get along with them perfectly. You can put him in a room with a bunch of guys that are worth 10 and 11 figures and have teams worth $5 to $10 billion, and they can have normal conversations with them. It's just a skill that man possesses. It's why, you typically the guys that communicate in sports, whether it's a point guard, whether it's a quarterback, obviously the center, like they usually can communicate well with a lot of different people. And Kelce's ability to go in that room, like the Eagles aren't dumb, right? They're a pretty smart organization. I don't think, best case scenario, it went as well as it did bringing him in because let's face it, and I don't blame it. We're all selfish. I say it all the time. People, and one thing I've talked to Maria a lot about since we've been dating is like sometimes she gets really caught up when, things in business don't go her way. It's like people are selfish. So when you go into the mindset, not trying to fuck the other person, but just realize like at the end of the day, they will make a decision with themselves, their family first. That's never going to change. And it's never really changed. And I think the Eagles were selfish on this. They don't want to lose the play. I don't blame them. And I bet there were a lot of people in the room who are kind of like, whatever. Like, I keep it great, like me. And bringing Jason Kelce in, clearly, I think Florio reported on it, that swung several teams, like the Browns, the Lions. Like, it's a big deal. I mean, 22-10, pretty close. I mean, you're just 2 votes away from this thing going bye-bye. So I do feel pretty confident, though, if the Eagles win again. Honestly, they don't even need to win the Super Bowl. If they just have a 12 or 13 win season and they're deep in the playoffs, this conversation is not going to stop. And the Packers admitted, like, the NFL used them as a guinea pig. The Packers did not care. Again, the Packers, like most of us, like, whatever. Like, yeah, the play's kind of boring. We know the outcome. But, like, it's their advantage. The NFL utilized them to be at the forefront of, like, get rid of this thing. And people within the Packers like, yeah, wasn't that big a deal to us. Like, we actually kind of respect it. So the NFL will do that again next year because if this play is the conversation about it, you could argue has only gotten bigger. So congrats to Eagles fans. You got a pitch that you can continue to use, and it's very, very effective. So I would expect Jalen Hurts and those guys to get some extra touchdowns because of this play, because that's what they always do. The NBA Finals are almost here, and every play could be one that changes everything. This is the NBA playoffs, where heroes rise, legacies are built, and the action never lets up. With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, you don't just watch the madness, you live it. Back your favorite team, ride with your clutch time killer, bet on buzzer beaters, breakout performances, and game-winning threes. From player props to same-game parlays, this is how you take your fandom to the next level. Here's what I know. I love the T-Wolves. You can get them, lines are subject to change, on DraftKings right now at plus 265 to win the series. They have experience, they have been here before, and obviously they just have a really good team who's really hot right now. If you like them to win the series, I don't hate them then to win the NBA championship at plus 550. New to the game, no sweat. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll score $300 in bonus bets. It's that easy. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code JOHN. That's code JOHN for new customers to get $300 in bonus bets if your bets wins and you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. Crown is yours. Okay, Brock Purdy. I was thinking about this because, listen, when a story breaks, part of the business I'm in, one huge advantage, little inside baseball here, that I have over, let's say I had a 3-hour radio show, is news breaks on anything. I can immediately do a YouTube video and then repurpose that and put it on my podcast feed. The moment the news breaks. It could be at midnight. It could be at 7 in the morning. It could be at 3 in the afternoon. Where historically, like if you have a radio show, well, if your show's from 3 to 6, if the news breaks after that show, nothing you can do till the following day. And it's a huge advantage we have here. So obviously NFL news in some of these stories, especially in the offseason, are just a must to have an instant reaction. And the other day, I guess it would have been Friday, I was literally walking out the door. It was like 3 in the afternoon to meet my buddy Jeff Fong and a couple other buddies and go play like 9 holes and have a couple cocktails. It's Friday afternoon, enjoy some sun, and the news breaks. And we were teeing off in like 30 minutes. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna be a little late. I got to give a reaction to Brock Purdy. And Schefter's tweet is he got 5 years, $265 million. And then 5 minutes later, it comes out a little more detail, $188 million guaranteed. But NFL contracts are not like, one of the biggest conversations going on right now in baseball, do the Mets regret Juan Soto? Because the moment they pay Juan Soto, just like all these baseball contracts, I'm giving you 5, 6, $700 million. We don't need to go, let's wait for the details. Let's see if there are injury guarantees, if there are offsets, if there are dates in the offseason. No. Every fucking penny is guaranteed. We've seen it in the NBA forever. It's like, wait, they just gave who $200 million? It's like, that is insane. And all these contracts in baseball and basketball are guaranteed. And in baseball, a lot of the time, it's like he signed a $500 million contract and he can opt out every couple years, where it's the complete opposite in the NFL. And it's always been the push, like guaranteed money. That's not the way we run our business because we have way more players and the injury risk here, that would be a disaster. And do you know who benefits the most from the non-guaranteed money? Because when Purdy's contract came out, Florio on Pro Football Talk did a breakdown. It's actually the moment he signs the contract, $115 million. To put that into context, Jalen Green, who most people around the NBA thinks like a backup, got $104 million last offseason. So Purdy, listen, there's injury guarantees and some other stuff, but truly the money guaranteed the moment he signed the contract at a franchise worth $8.6 billion, and he's the starting quarterback, got $115 million guaranteed. And a $40 million signing bonus. So I think sometimes, the NFL takes a lot of flack, and they run their business completely different than these other sports. It's the reason their sport is the most healthy, because they can pivot out of things. Like, if this Brock Purdy situation, I think it's going to go well. I think Brock Purdy's a good player. And watching him talk today, listen, this comparison isn't apples to apples because the other guy's one of the best players I've ever seen. But he reminds me a lot, the way he conducts himself, the way he acts, the way he talks, like Scotty Scheffler. Now, Scotty Scheffler is going to go down as one of the greatest players ever. Obviously, Brock Purdy is not as good at his sport as Scotty Scheffler is at his sport. But just, he's one of those guys completely unfazed by money. Will not be impacted one iota. Absolutely zero. Now, is he good enough? Especially the way we're going to talk about him now. We're going to find out in the next couple years. But if he's not, and this is a problem, and he either regresses or he gets exposed or whatever, which again, I don't think is going to be the case, the 49ers after the 2026 season can get out of this thing. And that's why the league's healthy. Because most of these contracts, even these crazy quarterback contracts, are like 3-year deals. Where we see in these other sports, these albatross contracts that you just can't move. It's like, this is a, do you know who gets screwed? The fans, the consumers. And there is not a business model that is more consumer friendly than this one. Now, if Purdy is just solid, he's going to see all this money. Let's use Carr as the example. Derek Carr actually gave back some money this year, but will have made over $200 million guaranteed in his career. Why? Because he was good enough to just keep being the starter for year after year after year after year. And that's most of these guys, right? So I would expect him to be solid and him to make a lot of this money, but you always have the out if it's a problem. And I think that is the healthiest thing that the NFL does is does not tie themselves to this crazy guaranteed money that these former players like, we are getting screwed. Well, no, you're actually getting highly compensated. But we're taking a huge risk because you can get injured at any moment. So it's like if we did these other contracts, like baseball or like basketball, you would be unable to get rid of any of these guys. And the fan would get royally screwed. Did you know your credit card points and miles lose value while they collect dust? Imagine a credit card with rewards that can grow in value. Introducing the Gemini credit card. With the Gemini credit card, you can earn Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos instantly with no annual fee. Every swipe at the store or gas pump earns you instant rewards deposited straight into your account. Plus, sign up now for $200 Bitcoin bonus to kickstart your rewards. Go to Gemini.com/card to learn more and start earning today. Terms apply. Again, visit Gemini.com/card now. Terms apply. The Gemini credit card is issued by WebBank. In order to qualify for the intro $200 crypto bonus, your application must be approved by June 30th, 2025, and spend $3,000 in your first 90 days. Terms apply. Some exclusions apply to instant rewards in which rewards are deposited when the transaction posts. This content is not investment advice, and trading crypto involves risk. For more details on rates, fees, and other Gemini credit card terms, see rates and fees. Okay, a couple other things in the NFL. This just made me laugh. Today, I guess Caleb Williams refused to talk to the media. And unlike Rory, who did this last week, 21, 22, you're in this story that has to do with something that's happened 18 months ago. Some of it involves your dad. What am I'm on this team. What am I going to say? If I was his age, younger guy, if it was an older player and, there was some story like this, like you got to face the music, I give the guy a little grace. But Ben Johnson came out today and said, it's come to my attention that over this past week, our quarterback has been in the media. Not saying like Caleb has, but just that this has been a big story. I love it when like a green, a new, young kind of hotshot coach tries to come out with a lot like this. Ben, it's come to your attention. You live in fucking Chicago. Hell, you were on Colin's show last week and he asked you about it. It's come to your attention. No, it's just the story is the story. Now, if you want to respond as he did and say, listen, I haven't been here, my only experience, that's fine. I got no problem with that. But when you start and open up with a cheesy line, it just made me laugh. It's come to your attention. Do you think that story for a guy that's the head coach of the Bears, who's living in Chicago, local TV? Listen, I'm not even that big of like a local TV guy, but when you live somewhere, it's inevitable that you end up like, especially if you're just watching a basketball game and it's on ABC, that ends, all of a sudden you're watching the local news and you just see some stories. It is for him to downplay, like it just kind of floating out there. My media PR guy gave me this story. Just made me chuckle. I love a good kind of like cheesy, nerdy response to something that is a complete lie. Cam Ward signed his contract. I think if you're a Titans fan, you got to be pretty excited. Hope is a powerful thing, man. Belief is a powerful thing. Sometimes you see like I was listening to Bill Simmons and he did like this thing like should some of these fake NBA trades and some of them include the number one overall pick with the Dallas Mavericks with Cooper Flag. Listen, Cooper Flag might be the next Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning. He also could just be like a solid starting quarterback, right? You have no clue what you're getting. You think like it's probably going to go well, and I more than likely he'll be an all-star, but there's no guarantee. But the hope no different with Arch Manning, no different when Caleb was drafted. The hope of what could be is more powerful than already knowing. And when you see guys that like in the NFL, because if I went, hey, Tennessee, Cam Ward is gonna be like, let's just say I threw this out. He's gonna be like Kyler Murray meets Kirk Cousins. You're like, mm, it's like, what if I went like, he's gonna be like 80% of Patrick Mahomes. Sounds a lot better. And whenever you have a situation like last year and you had to witness Will Levis and the quarterback position couldn't have been any worse, it's pretty refreshing. And listen, I didn't know that much about Cam Ward, but watching some of his comments, knowing a couple guys with the Titans, they are very, very bullish on this human. And that's the thing back to Purdy. And listen, a lot of the guys that aren't Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar, who are all high character elite guys, but the way you become like 7 through 12, typically you got to be a high level cat from a work ethic standpoint, from a film study standpoint, from a recovery standpoint. Like most of the guys in that next tier, the Jared Goffs, the Jalen Hurtses, Purdy for his first couple years. You just kind of go like Dak Prescott when he's healthy. It's like they're usually checking all the boxes off the field. It's pretty rare. It's like, yeah, this guy's kind of a douche. Doesn't really work that hard, but he's seventh best quarterback in the NFL. Usually not how it works. So if I was a Titans fan, I'd be pretty excited. And last but not least, uh, this one, if listen, it's a tough spot for John Spytek. Pete Carroll's in charge of hiring his coaches and hire Chip Kelly, who they got. Chip Kelly's making some serious cash now just being an assistant coach. I mean, talk about a guy just went full mercenary, cashing them checks. Got the Raiders to give him 3 years, $18 million to be the offensive coordinator. And Ashton Jeanty, who has anyone that watched him play, if you watch a lot of running backs, right, the way they're standing behind the quarterback, they're in like an athletic position. They are ready to explode. And then there are certain guys, I think Derrick Henry's a little like this, but Ashton Jeanty is literally just standing there. He's just like standing. He's like erect, right? Straight up and down. No athletic posture. Like the first thing they teach you, like if you're playing infield in little league, is like bend your knees, get down, right? Have a good like a little shoulder width stance. Athletic, no different than you play like seventh grade or sixth grade basketball, right? Open your feet, bend, be able to be in athletic position. That is not how Ashton Jeanty is as a running back. Yet it created from Boise State a top 6 pick, right? And the first thing Chip Kelly does is change his stance. And Ashton Jeanty's like, super high character, good guy. Kind of it felt like gave in, but it wasn't something that this is a weird situation. My take would be as a front office GM, can we just let him do what made him be until we have to change it? Like, should this be something that we change immediately? My pushback would be no. If we like him enough to draft him 6 overall, could we just leave him standing there in the backfield, literally before the ball is snapped, just unfazed before that becomes a problem? So that would be. I'm not trying to be a Raider hater. I'm pro. Listen, people think I was anti Ashton Jeanty. He's an excellent player. He's a special prospect. I'm not disagreeing. I just the running back value drafting guys. We can argue that till we're blue in the face. But if I'm going to draft him, I'm going to let the fucking guy be him, not change his stance the first thing I do. So, uh, yeah, Chip Kelly has made Ashton Jeanty change the way that he lines up. So yeah,